What is going on, everyone? My name is Vic, aka Victavish, and today I'm going to show you the 30 best tips that I could possibly find after doing hours and hours of research. So here we go, guys. Let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into it.
Why do men think it's acceptable to invade a woman's space like this?
Tip number 1. Hold L2 and R2, or left trigger and right trigger on the Xbox, while you have your lasso out to throw it much farther. Tip number 2. Avoid any petty or small bounties, like when you accidentally bump into somebody in the city, by waiting there for the officer to come, locking into him, and then defusing the situation. Once you say sorry to him, you'll see on the top right of the screen under wanted, it will say move along. Once you see that, you can get out of there and you will not have a bounty to worry about.
Why don't you leave now before this gets any worse for you?
Of course, no problems here.
Tip number 3. You can tell if a horse is friendly or mean by its ears. A friendly horse will have his ears pointing straight up, while a mean one that could possibly kick you or boot you off if you try to ride him, his ears are actually going to be pointing straight back. A nice little detail by Rockstar. Tip number 4. You can activate QUICKDRAW at any time in the game by lightly holding R2 or the right trigger button.
Great success.
Tip number 5. You can actually tell if a blind beggar is faking or not by aiming a gun to him and seeing if he reacts. Tip number 6. To get a perfect pelt, you need to kill the animal with the right weapon and bullets. So here's a photo showing exactly what weapons you have to use against what animals to get that perfect pelt. Also keep in mind that some similar animals will have the same pelt. Tip number 7. Water actually causes weapons to degrade a lot faster, so try not to stay in there for too long, and if you are, then dual wield your pistols and hold them, because that will actually keep them out of the water and keep them fresh. Tip number 8. Wraps decrease the deterioration of rifles. I previously thought that there was no purpose to them other than being a cosmetic item, but I guess that's just not a Rockstar thing to do. Tip number 9. If someone steals your horse, which will happen at some point in the game by a stranger, you can actually just whistle to them while they are still in range, and that will make your horse throw that person off and come back to you. Tip number 10. If your horse is hitched up, it actually prevents NPCs from stealing it, and of course it helps out your horse's stamina and bond. Tip number 11. If you have not already bought the most expensive stirrup at the stable, buy it ASAP, because it will increase all of your horse's speed and acceleration by 2 points. Now, other than the stirrup, make sure you also buy one of these 3 saddles: the Gurdon Trail, the Lumley saddle, or this other Gurdon saddle. These saddles also give you extra boosts in the game for your horse, guys. It's weird because it will not show you the boost that it gives you until you go to start, player, and then horse, and then you can see here that the saddle actually gives you some energy regen rate, some energy core drain rate, and some health core drain rate as well. Tip number 12. If you double tap L1 or LB while holding a pistol, Arthur will do a cool little spin animation to holster it. Very important. Tip number 13. Activate Deadeye when you run out of bullets to automatically reload your gun with 0 wait time. If you get this technique down, it will make you extremely effective. You should really do this when you have 1 to 0 bullets left in the chamber. Activate it and it will be right back up. Tip number 14. You can rest or craft things at any time when you are on foot just by pressing the triangle or Y button. Tip number 15. When crafting food at a fireplace, you can season food by pressing left or right on the D-pad. That will greatly add benefits to your food. Tip number 16. If your horse dies and you don't have a horse reviver on you, quickly close out of the game. It's worth losing a little bit of progress to save a good horse that you already have a bond with, especially if you have autosave on, guys. If you not have autosave, you might want to think about it a little bit, but if you do have autosave on, then definitely close out of the game immediately. It is not worth losing that bond that you have with that horse. We all know that can take some time. Tip number 17. The earlier you hunt legendary animals and take them to the fence, the better off you will be for the rest of the game because it provides a permanent boost to Arthur, like Deadeye draining slower and a lot more. Tip number 18. If you find a prisoner in the woods with some shackles, you can shoot the shackles off him, get the tip that he gives you, and you can still hog tie him back up afterwards and take him to the sheriff for some money. So in this case, you can get the best of both worlds. Tip number 19. You can change outfits on top of your horse as long as you're almost at a dead stop. Tip number 20. Use the best types of bullets at all times because they make a massive amount of difference in this game, and you can max out on those at the gunsmith by just holding the X button on PlayStation or A button on Xbox instead of having to sit there and repeatedly buy small amounts. Tip number 21. Save and then load the game if you are too far from your horse to call it. That way he will appear there next to you when you load the game back up. Usually this is a lot quicker than other options, like you can hitch a ride with a station wagon driver passing by. To do that, all you have to do is lock into him and press the up button, but this only works with some wagons if they come by, and they're only going to take you to wherever they are already going. So this is by far the fastest way to do it. Tip number 22. You can sit on any ledge in the game like a bridge or a cliff and enjoy the view. It is not very useful, but it's scenic nonetheless and pretty cool. Tip number 23. What is useful is going to the store and maxing out on premium cigarettes. These cigarettes are going to give you cigarette cards, which greatly levels up your Deadeye level. Make sure you use them as often as possible so you can go back and grab some more and continue to level it up quick. Tip number 24. If you are struggling to loot a dead body that is in a strange position, or maybe the guy's just dead there sitting on top of the wagon, you can lasso him and pull him to you so you can loot them at a better position. Tip number 25. There's 3 different crosshairs in the game. A white one means that they are still alive, a light red one means that you kill them, and a dark red one means that you hit a fatal shot and that they will die shortly. Tip number 26. Pressing left on the D-pad brings up your full task list, including your challenges, which is actually super helpful in this game because it can get a bit messy. My friends have even come up to me at work and asked me, hey man, where do you see all the missions in this game? So all you have to do is tap left on the D-pad and there you go. It will show you your whole log, challenges, missions, and all of that. Tip number 27. If you're at level 4 bonding with your horse, the by far quickest way of making it do a dead stop is by holding down square on the PlayStation or X on the Xbox. This is going to make it stop extremely fast, and it's really useful if you just missed a corner or you're just going way too fast to turn that corner. Tip number 28. You can also jump and mount onto your horse from a decently high up surface like a roof or a balcony and feel like Zorro. A cool little bonus is that Arthur actually struggles and does a completely different animation getting onto the horse if the horse is a bit up more elevated than he is. Tip number 29. A short whistle tells your horse to come to you and a long whistle tells them to follow you. But if you whistle multiple times, your horse will actually come to you a lot faster. Final tip is when you go out to hunt legendary animals and pelts, grab a wagon that has some space in the back that you can clearly drop stuff on. This is great if you want to hunt a lot of legendary animals at once and you are the person that likes to play smart, and this will save you hours of riding back and forth. Just don't forget that animals do decompose after time, so you do not have all of the time in the world, but this is still a great help. That is going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope this has taught you a bunch of new useful tips. It took me quite a while to round up all of this information, and if it has helped you, please hit that like and subscribe button. It means the world to us. And also follow us on Instagram at Costa Brothers. We just hit 1,000 followers yesterday and we are already at 1,200 now. So if you like watching daily crazy video game clips, please hit us up on there, hit us with a follow, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
So many things that I could say now. Used to kiss some girls up on the playground. Yeah, hope that she don't text me that she late now. The way that I've been living, ain't no time for me to play around. And I got so much more to say too. Girls on their Instagrams complaining about the dates, ooh.